Gonna grab my coffee here. Hey y'all. Peace. So I'm just gonna talk and you guys can watch this afterwards. So I haven't been uploading that much this week, like at all. I am so behind on like everything. Hey, whoever's here, hi, comment. So if you're a subscriber, let me know so I can give 3 extra entries from my giveaways I do every week. So if you show up on my live stream anytime I do live stream and you comment, you automatically get 3 extra entries for my giveaways. So I have Roblox gift cards and a Dollar General gift card I'll be doing this week. And so I want to talk about that, about my whole subscriber thing and my experience here on YouTube and what I'm planning to do. If it anyway, so I wanted to just give an update on, I don't know, just vlog, I guess, and say what's been going on this week. So I had a war with some wasps this week, and it just literally destroyed my whole week. Like it was just like, it was just gone. Because like I was in bed most of the week. I was so, now my anxiety level, I know I'm not supposed to be anxious as a believer, but my anxiety level right now is just so high because I have so much to do and so much. I had this whole, last several days I had so much to do, and I got nothing done. So anyways, if you remember, I did a video and I was battling this infestation of wasps on my porch overhang. And it's really miracles and the grace of God that I did not get. Like I was able to handle that. I didn't call any professionals in to deal with it. I had to do it myself, right? So I have on my front porch, just so you know, there's like an enclosed porch about maybe, 3 feet wide and maybe, 8 feet long. And so then there's this like overhang right here. And then there's this overhang here that has this soffit. And then you have your facial trim and stuff. And so they had got in some little crevice in there. And so it was hard to get rid of this nest because they have the ability to escape when you spray them. And they have the ability to get deep down in the entire attic area above my house. And it was it took me a good 2 weeks at least to just slowly, little bit by little bit, fight off this infestation of wasps. And this year has been crazy with wasps. I don't know what the deal is. It's just an epidemic of wasps this year. A few years ago, ticks was like crazy. So I saw this one YouTuber. I don't know where state he was from. I think Jeremy Lynch. Yeah, he's got some cool videos. Anyways, so his whole driveway was covered with wasps, just a big huge swarm. They'd come in through the bush and it was all on the ground. I'm just like, that is so dangerous. And so that's why I did that little tutorial if anybody else is having this problem. But I'm fighting a wasp, and it's so dangerous because first of all, I'm allergic to them. Okay. So I have to carry this EpiPen and everything. And then I have this autoimmune disease. It's called mesenteric paniculitis. It's super rare, this really weird, funky, only 500 people on the earth have it. And I just happen to catch it. I don't even know, there's no even research on it. It can be very benign, and you can have very dormant, symptoms, or it can literally attack you and kill you. I was in the hospital in kidney failure, organ failure, heart failure. I had fluid around all of my organs, and it was just, they didn't know what it was until they did the CAT scans and stuff, and that's when they found it. And so they put me on all these heavy medicine and stuff for a while, and thankfully, mine went kind of into remission, if you will. Because some people have it very persistent and progressively. And so mine has been every once in a while I have an episode. So anyways, but it's kind of like autoimmune. It's kind of like lupus, sort of. I don't know how to explain it, but it's your mesentery. It's a disease of your mesentery, which is your entire filter system for your body. So anywho's, but it's so rare and so few people have it in the earth that they just don't have any research for it. And it's probably something simple they could cure, but there's just no research. Anyways, so this freaking wasp up there on my overhang, I got this net curtains, right? That has the magnets in the middle, you know, that you can put like on a big screen door or big entrance or whatever. And so I put that literally right there underneath the overhang to keep them from coming inside my porch because I can't even open my door. I'm like this trying to open my door, you know, and I'm looking around to make sure there's no wasp they're going to give me. And I cannot go outside my front door without my rubbing alcohol spray bottle because you get 91% rubbing alcohol and then you put it on stream and then you spray them and it stuns them. I mean, they can't come at you. It just instantly stuns them and it kills them within a minute. So anyways, but it needs to be 91%. I mean, if you have 70%, it'll kill them. It'll take a little bit longer, you know, but don't like try to approach them after you give them a little bit before you approach them. But anyways, so the thing about wasps is they can sting more than once, little buggers. So, and they're destructive. Like they will destroy your wood structure. You know, you don't want them up there in your stuff and, you know, in your attic or whatever. And so anyways, so I win, right? I finally, it took me a good long 2 weeks I had to like, as soon as they would like certain time of day, they would like all be hanging out right on the outside of where they go into their nest. And I would just get out there and I would just spray the heck out of them. And then they keep coming up and I'd spray them some more. And I'd kill like at least 20 to 30 every day, right? But then some of them would escape up into that were already up into the overhang or whatever, and they'd go deep up in there and they would go out another part somewhere. So then I had to go at the back side of my house and get some wood putty and carefully seal off anything and fight off any of the wasps that are, you know, usually use that for an exit. And I'm like, it's a war. It's an all-out war I'm having with these wasps, right? And so I re-putty everything and get everything nice and tight and sealed. They can't get in there at all. So then they only have one entrance point. And so then I was able finally to where I'd look, you know, and a day would go by and here they come back and finally, they were gone. However, and never underestimate the unpredictability of wasps. Like if you're out there and open and they're flying around and they're not acting like they're aggressive or going to bother you, you know, don't let that fool you, right? It's like I was sitting out there one day. There's one like in the little swimming pool. It's like a little bird bath, you know, and I'm just looking at it and I'm just watching how it uses its body to take in water, thinking that's interesting and so forth. But, you know, we're coexisting and it's like, so I'm just stay away from my front porch. We cool, right? Oh, no, they took revenge on me. Because what happened is I have this big fenced area and there's this tree by the fenced area and it has a birdhouse on it, a little bitty hole. I had no idea that there was wasps, that they had created a nest inside that birdhouse. And I'm really glad that they got me and not my dogs because my dogs are older and just I wouldn't even know that they were attacked, right? Anyways. So this tree right next, I was just go over there by the fence to grab something. I think it was a shovel or something, and it got me. And it landed of all places on my finger, like this finger right here, and stung me twice. Oh my gosh, I was so mad. I'm like, oh, no, you didn't. So I go in the house and I put the antibiotic on. I'm like, oh my gosh, where's my EpiPen? Where's my EpiPen, right? Where's my EpiPen? And so, you know, but the first initial reaction wasn't really that bad. It swelled up, but I had everything on hand that I would need. You know, they would give me an ER anyway. So I have EpiPen, I have steroids, I have the, you know, antihistamines and anti-inflammatories. So I'm set, you know. So anyways, so I go in the house, put some antibiotic on it straight away because last time I had a really bad infection where I got stung a few years back, and so that one was inside my house. You got it inside my house. That's why you really don't want them anywhere near doors, windows, because they'll get inside your house. But I haven't really had like an issue of an infestation of them, right? Like every once in a while you'll see one, you know, just randomly flies up in there looking for something. So anyways, I go out there with the spray bottle and I get a good 10 feet away and I squirt right in that hole. And my aim was good because I took them out, right? And they were trying to get out and they couldn't because I kept squirting. And so I was able to remove the little birdhouse safely, you know, with this long, it's like one of those tall branch trimmer things. So I moved the freaking birdhouse out in the forest where they should have been building our nest to begin with. But then I thought, well, okay, so my hand swelled a little bit, you know, and I thought, well, I'm just going to wait and see. I'm not going to use my EpiPen unless, you know, I'll start going anaphylactic shock. I'm fine. So I go ahead and take some steroid antihistamines, to counter any reaction. And so I was okay until the next day. And the next day I was just like, my chest was real tight. And oh my gosh, my stomach hurt so bad. I was so sick. Like it wasn't like nauseous, just severe pain. And I knew that my mesenteric panniculitis was flaring up. And so I was just, there went my week. I was just down, right? Just down. I couldn't get out of bed. I had to get my car fixed. And I had to wait 2 weeks for an appointment with the dealership just to get my car. Because like you probably see me in one of my videos where I'm driving and my steering wheel's like this, right? And I'm like, it's going in the shop. I have an appointment. Well, I missed my appointment. I can't get out of bed. I was just so sick. And so I was like, oh man, I don't care if I have to drag myself by the hair. I'm taking myself somewhere to get my car fixed. And so anyway, so that was an ordeal. So I'm like, okay, I take some medicine, and I'm waiting to hear from the VA because really they wanted me to go to ER and, all this stuff. But I just didn't know like what proper dose I should have been taking based on my symptoms. So I was supposed to be taking twice as much as I was. I probably would have been better sooner. But anyways, I couldn't, I'm waiting to hear from from my doctor and stuff. And anyways, it could take up to 3 days for that, You either march your butt over to the freaking and then we had the what do you call it, the Labor Day weekend, so of course nothing's open then. So anyways, God is good, and I made it through, and I got rid of all the wasps. So, and it's a miracle, really truly, that I only got stung by one wasp. As many wasps as that I had took on, I probably killed at least 200 wasps on my porch alone. Like, it's bad. And so just never ever underestimate the unpredictability of wasps, because here's the thing, and I've read about the wasps, sometimes they're not aggressive like at all. You leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. And then depending on what they're doing, if they're breeding and they're mating or whatever, sometimes they can be very aggressive. That other times they're completely different. And that was the day. They were like super aggressive with me on that day. But anyway, so I got rid of them, and I don't know what's going on with the wasps this year. They're just really bad. So then I take some medicine. I start to feel good enough that I'm in a lot of pain. My gut is just hurting so bad. But that's the pain from mesenteric panniculitis. And so I go down to this mechanic that I've never used before, and it was not good, because I knew that I had a bad tire, and I knew that was related to the steering wheel, because I had, I've already been told that's what it was. So I'm like, okay, well, I can at least get that fixed, but I have something like power steering in addition to that going on. And so anyways, I finally got the dealership today, but I go to this little mechanic shop, and I'm not going to call them out not right now. So I'm like, they fixed it. They got me in quick. I was so very thankful for that. And, I think the price of the tire was reasonable, but they charged me for 2 tires, and I got to looking at my other tire that they said that I need to replace that one time. I'm like, there ain't nothing wrong with that tire. It's still in good shape, right? I'm just like, so then I start questioning them, like, because they're saying a whole bunch of stuff that was wrong with my car that I was not even expecting, because I knew there was an issue on one part because I've already talked to the mechanic about it. And so, but I wanted a full front end inspection, anyways, just go ahead and do that. And so all kinds of stuff, I'm just like, after I sold out with that tire, so I go to the dealership, and, they did the full diagnosis on my car, and all the tie rods and ball joints, all the stuff they said that was wrong with my car, ain't nothing wrong with it. I'm like, they were trying to charge me $100 for stuff that wasn't even wrong, and didn't even diagnose the part that was needing replaced. And I was just like, seriously? So anyways, but I choose to trust the dealership. They have the best equipment, and so anyways, that's who's going to fix my car. But he said it wasn't, and he was really like honest. He's like, look, he said, this is something you probably need to get done soon, but it's not a safety issue. Like, you can drive your car, like if your budget is tight this month, because 2 tires replaced when I only needed 1, so that kind of set me back. So he's like, you can wait a little bit. But anyway, so I have to get my power steering pump replaced, and then this other part, I don't even remember what it was, but anywho's, but Yeah. So I've just been just messed up. Like, oh my gosh, I need prayer so bad. It's just this legal stuff, and then just being losing this, not just losing the week of all the things that I needed to get done. I had so much to do this week. Like the whole week was just going to be like hectic. And then I had to give my body the ability to just rest and and recover, from this autoimmune attack from these wasps. And because it stung me twice, I had double the toxin. They said it could take a good week to get that toxin out of your body. And anywho's, I'm still, the medicine I picked up today was like, now I have the double dose that I need. So I'm feeling like it helps a little bit. But man, darn it. The weather, right? This is like the last bit of the warm weather we have. I live near the lake. So all the people are out in their boats and their jet skis and all the stuff and the fishing, and everybody's out on the lake. They're just like getting their last 2 weeks left of getting in the lake, before it starts turning cold. Unless you're hardcore and you fish year round, which I'm not. So I really wanted to get out and get some boat and lake time done. I didn't get any. Anyways, so okay, so now I'm going to move on to the issue with this YouTube stuff. So I've been praying, like, am I even going to continue on YouTube? Because, like, I'm just, everybody that knows me, knows my channel, what I've been up to. Hey, I didn't know that WD-40. I do have some. So what I've been using is rubbing alcohol, 91%. It stuns them. Like, they're down, like, just like that. Like, no joke. I don't even know how I knew that. It's like, I think God just told me that because I had it. It was bad. And so I just tried it, and it stunned the heck out of them. They can't get up. Like, if they get even a little bit on them, they're just like, they can't move. They can't come at you. They can't attack you. And so, anyways, yeah, so I have a bottle and I check it, make sure it's working, that it's going to not, like, sometimes bottles stop up or whatever, when you get out there ready to fight, and then your ammo or whatever, your weapon misfires. And so, but yeah, I mean, I probably, at least 200 wasps, I took them all out, but they got me once. Anyway, so this still about YouTube. So this week alone, that I know of, just by based on the people that subscribe to me, I have like 15. I counted 15 new subscribers. I went down and wrote them all down, and my counter went up 1. And I'm just like, what? And no, these people show their subscriptions, the whole thing. There's no excuse. YouTube is not giving me credit for my subscribers. It's making me so mad because it's not just that, right? Like, it's also the fact that, YouTube makes it so hard to find smaller channels, that people that you can connect with. Like, if you're not like this big YouTuber, you're just putting out videos and you're just making a lot of money, and it's actually a platform where, like, you would connect to other people, right? And that's what it used to be for me. Like, I had over 1,000, I was monetized, but really and truly, I was just hanging out. You know what I mean? So I have more like friends on YouTube than anything. And now when you search for, channels that have same content, stuff that you like, I can't find them. I cannot find them. They're nowhere. Like, all you get is big channel, big channel, big channel, big channel. And they just repeats, And like the shorts, I'm like, I just quit watching the shorts. I get out of the shorts feed because they keep just shoving the same ones in your face. Like, they'll show you 4 or 5, and if you don't click on them, then they'll just keep re-showing them to you. I'm like, well, just forget it. I know what channels that I like to have shorts. I'll just keep going to those. And then, like, I'll go to this one, and I'll click on his shorts, and they'll reroute me to somebody else's shorts. I'm just like, seriously? Is YouTube like turning into communists? Like, they dictate to you what you can and cannot watch, and who you can and cannot subscribe to? Because they're hacking my account. They're unsubbing me from people that I like. There's one channel, and I really liked her videos. And I was like, I'm going to go back and, check her out later. So I go back to her channel, and I'm unsubbed. And so I can't get notifications because YouTube is unsubbing me from other people that I like. And then subscribe to me a channel that I'm like, why am I subscribed to these channels? I don't even like this kind of content. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And it's not like somebody's hacking my account. It's just happening to me because I've read articles where this has been so many people complaining of it that they've had, like, I wouldn't say like reporters, but like journalists, people who do articles on issues. And they have said that, YouTube, they got response from them about the amount of people complaining about the same thing. And like, oh, we take this, allegation seriously. We're not unsubscribing people from people or whatever. And I'm just like, well, yeah, you are, because I've seen it personally on my channel. See, I wanted to do like a special giveaway when I hit 950. For every 50 subscribers, I'm doing, another giveaway. And I've far surpassed 950, but yet I'm back down, and I literally had 15 subscribers, brand new subscribers. These people are not like sketchy, shady people that are just going to sub and unsub people. That's not who they are at all. And so I see that I have a new subscriber, and then I'll have people come to me and tell me, hey, I was subbed to you, and somehow or another I got unsubbed to you. And I'm like, I know. I don't blame you. I'm sure that it was just YouTube doing that. And I'm just like, I want to be able to at least find the channels that I like easily. So I create these playlists and stuff of, like, I like crochet, I like crafts, and I like, Bible stuff and, certain types of content. These are the kinds of videos that I watch. So I make playlists, and so that way, at least I know that, hey, I know that I've subscribed to this channel, because these channels are hard to find to begin with, that have the kind of contents and, just the live streams and the different events and things that they're doing on their channel. And, I'm not new at crocheting. Like I've crocheted many years, but I've just kind of limited on the types of crochet items that I've done. So I want to learn new things. I have a lot to learn, like a lot. Like I only know like several stitches and some of the things that I've made myself. So I'm just like, it's that time of year, and I'm trying to make up all my little, get back in the network and find new, connect with new people, new friends, because I was gone for 4 years and a lot of people left. And so, and I can't like stay sub to people and can't keep them sub to me, because YouTube is, it really what it is, and I read a most recent article, I think, was that there's about 50 million subscribers on YouTube that are channels. Now there's users, there's probably like 2 billion like users. They're just people that like use the platform for, I don't know, viewing videos and don't really, upload or maybe not even subscribe or anything, And so like 50 million channels, and only 2 million are monetized, because they don't have the ad revenue. They don't have the ad revenue to share, to partner with people. But they won't admit that. They won't just tell people, look, we're only going to have a certain percent of people that we're going to monetize, because we just don't have the ad revenue for 50 million people. If 40 million people actually got it together to where they were a good enough channel to grow and whatever, we just don't have it. Like, they should just be upfront, And I'm thinking like, okay, YouTube, you know what? Here's the thing. They have the thing called the shelf. And I would stay if they would just let me use the shelf. Like, they used to be, you had to have 10,000 subscribers. And now you have to have 1,000 subscribers, but you have to be monetized. And I'm like, well, if you just think about it, okay, Facebook is far surpassing. They have, I don't know if they have equal amount of users or accounts or whatever, I don't know, but Facebook is so smart. They just started the video platform way after YouTube started it, and they are way far surpassed in the things that they do. Like, for example, you can sell anything on Facebook anytime you want. And so here's what YouTube's been doing recently. They started with the shorts to compete with TikTok. Okay, so then they started with this community section. If you have so many subscribers, you have a community section to kind of sort of compete with the Facebook platform when Facebook went video platform, right? So they're adding these different things to sort of give similar, platform features as these other competitive platforms. And I'm just like, really, YouTube? Here you go. Why don't you let people sell their stuff on YouTube? And you can make, like, that's what Facebook does. Facebook gets a little tiny percentage, just like eBay does. Like, if you have a shelf, right? And, of course, that would be a very big thing to have to, I don't know, I don't even know how eBay handles like monitoring what's being sold and what's not, to make sure. But I'm just saying that if you, they could make money off of every little thing you sold. You know what I mean? Like even it's just a tiny percent, and that's what Facebook does. Like you can sell your stuff on Facebook. I've bought stuff on Facebook, although I'd rather buy from eBay just because they have that guarantee, protection. And so, I just think that I don't know why YouTube doesn't capitalize on that. There are a lot of people. I'm not going to stay. Continue to upload, and I'm not this time. If I leave, I'm taking with me. Like I have 800 videos, and I have some that are like for unlisted, just for certain people, and groups of people or whatever, or maybe church or veterans or family friends, whatever. I have some set to private, that I just pulled, and maybe I'll put it out some other time, but I do have a lot that are public, and I'm just like, why should YouTube? I keep my videos on YouTube endlessly. Like I left uploading here, but I still watch. I've watched YouTube for years. I've never stopped watching videos on YouTube, right? So they've made money off me off that too. But why should they they put ads on a lot of my videos. So why should they make money off my videos? And they're not going to give me an opportunity. You're not going to ever let me have my watch time hours that I know that I have. People have told me that they're watching my playlist. Okay. I know that they are. And I know I've watched it very closely. I know I'm not getting my watch time. I know you're cheating me on my subscribers. And I don't want to really feed the beast. If, I think about YouTube and all the good things that's going on YouTube. There's a lot of Christians here. There's a lot of good, just Christian music and sermons that I've listened to through the years. And so there's a lot of good here. But do I really want to empower this platform on this, like the simple thing about the whole scamming the little kids and that whole Roblox scam live stream thing? And I'm just like, so I'm debating on whether or not that I'm going to continue. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind. But I tell you this, if I do stop and I just give up, that YouTube's never going to let me, they're just always going to keep cheating me, and I can't get, if I get to the CEO and I can't get it resolved at, that administrative whatever level, I'm taking my videos with me. You ain't gonna keep making money off my stuff, right? Or I'll just set them all to unlisted or something. Because if I can't make money, you can't either off my stuff, YouTube. Shoot, I'm just like, it's just wrong, And I understand that YouTube, when it opened up, it was like pioneer, and now it's just too big. There's just too many channels, and yet they make it that way. They keep, inviting that and keep trying to allure people to this platform, and promise that they can make money, and really, they're not going to. There's just no revenue for 50 million people, and that is the bottom line. And they won't admit that, and I think that's wrong. And I think what they should do is just open up other doors for people to also make money on YouTube. And that would be one way, is to open up the shelf for anybody, 1,000 subscribers or more, and I mean, you can make a certain percentage, or what you could do is make them pay a fee, a membership fee to use your shelf. Something capitalized. Stop just, taking money from people and not letting them get in on the piece of the pie. Because I'm just about done, right? I'm mad this week because of the subscribers that I know I got. And then I'm like, they're just, and then me subscribing to people. And then I go back to their channel and I'm unsubscribed to them. And I'm like, and then the comments, turn my comments off. That's so rude. Anyway, so that's about it for me. That's what I've been up to. Sorry about the flag there. And yeah, so I'm feeling a little bit better. Like, this is like my first cup of coffee, and I haven't even been able to drink coffee. It's just like my gut hurts so bad. So appreciate prayers on that. And so today I went to have my car full diagnosis on it at the dealership. So I was able, thankfully, I was so lucky, because after I missed my appointment with the dealership, because I just couldn't get out of bed. Oh my gosh, I was just like, oh, but then I guess they had an opening. They came open, and I was, because it's hard where I live. It's a little town, and there's one dealership, for Ford. And that's it. That's all there is. You can't go on the other side of town, go to their dealership. One. That's it. And so, yeah, I was real lucky that I was able to get in the next day because I missed the appointment. You know. Anyways, and they were real nice too. They didn't get mad at me because I missed it. But so this weekend, as far as like the giveaways, I mean, I haven't really uploaded a whole lot this week at all. And normally I upload like 20 or 30 videos. I do my did you know amazing facts, interesting facts episode, and then I do my antique episode, and I just couldn't. I'm like, I'm so behind. I just couldn't get anything done, And then I had that ordeal that happened on what day was that? It was sometime the Labor Day weekend. It was, I don't know if I talked about that or not. That was crazy. That was so crazy. Like, I'm under attack, guys. I need prayer. You guys know, I know a lot of people have been commenting about this stuff that I'm going through. This local corruption, the attack on tribal people, and trying to steal their land, and trying to exclude people from using public lands, and trying to give public lands away to private people, and just this retaliatory attack because I refuse to just not, take up my cross, if you will. And so they upped their game. Okay, I think I put on the about the FBI agent that called me, and he was saying that he said that he had called the prosecutor's office, and they had not sent any evidence, none whatsoever. And I knew they hadn't because I called the prosecutor's office. And so when he told me, though, and I recorded him, saying that if they're willfully withholding evidence of crimes against people, especially, ethnic group of people, tribal people, even though I'm technically more Caucasian than I'm Indian, right? I'm about, with all my genetics together, about a quarter. And so, it's just, but there's just this hostility towards tribal people. It doesn't even matter if you're 100% or if you're 10% or whatever you are, if anything. They just the idea that you're tribal, it just makes them, a lot of people, hostile. And people don't know that it's really like that unless they live here. And anywho, so here's what happened. After this FBI agent had told me that, it's criminal, it's public corruption, and then when he found out from the prosecutor's office that nothing was sent, it's kind of almost sounded like he was just like acting like, I know, it seemed to me like somebody instructed him that he should have sent it, he should have forwarded everything to the U.S. Attorney's Office. I don't care what their excuse is. So that's when I spoke to the U.S. Attorney's Office, and I've not followed up with the U.S. Attorney's Office yet, as of yet. So I think that they have been planning and scheming against myself and the other people. I have not released anybody's names that's been signing affidavits. There's other witnesses and other people that's been abused as well, besides myself, and stalked. Okay, I've got it on camera. This person, the stalker, stalked another woman in broad daylight on camera. Okay, he may not know he was on camera, but she has cameras and I have cameras. They saw what he did. Anyways, so they've just been really like crafty behind the scenes, but I'm just like, hey. So I was just telling this update on this situation with, after I talked to the FBI agent and the U.S. Attorney's Office. So what happened over Labor Day weekend was, everybody's here, everybody's driving their boats, and because I live near the lake. I live like 2 blocks from the lake shoreline. It's all lake community. So this is a golf cart, ATV type of community. And so it's this town, like all the towns, this is like 880 shoreline miles. This is the biggest lake in the Midwest. And so goes through like 12 and 13 towns altogether in like 3 counties. It's huge, right? And so all these little lake towns, or most of them are all golf cart communities, right? Where there's lake shore, you're going to see golf carts. So anyways, so I live up on this supposed to be private drive. And this guy had been sitting on his porch down the road shooting across the public road, which is a felony in Oklahoma. You can't do that, but to keep certain people off, right? Intimidate them, scare them, keep them off my road. I'm not allowed visitors. It's not allowed. So anyways, and I did the goofiest thing. Have you ever done this? Okay, so my car, its doors lock automatically. So I have this carport, and the like door, it has like what do you call it? Like pneumatic doors goes up and down. So I get out, I back my car in. I just gone to get some stuff at the store, help with my stomach and everything. Just one little tiny trip, right? I'm like in and out, and come back and go home, go back to bed. Oh no, it did not turn out that way. So like my door shut and my car locked with the keys running. Oh my gosh, car was running. My little groceries was in there. Anyways, so thankfully I have people close by, so I get my walker out and I go down the road, up the road that way, and I go get help. And the craziest thing was this: I caught roadside assistance. Like I call roadside assistance, and my vehicles, my identity has been hacked. Like I don't know what happened, but this is twice. This has happened in two different insurance companies. This happened back in March, and I had to leave that insurance company because I thought it was the insurance that was the problem. But it happened again. My name, my vehicles were not covered according to roadside assistance, and then they couldn't confirm me. They kept showing like somebody else's stuff on my policy. It was like what, right? So, anyways, so I couldn't get roadside assistance here, so I go get help, and they bring me home on the golf cart, and then the guy that's a mechanic, and he knows he's got the tools to break in my car and help me get in my car. So he comes up behind the golf cart in his ATV, and I'm gonna have to kill a spider here in just a second. So I'm so thankful for these people coming up my road. Now, one of them, he's 100% Cherokee, and the other one, she's part Indian too. And so I hate to even invite people to my home because I know that they are at high risk of being abused by this person. But this person is also a stalking and harassment victim by him. The other person was with him wasn't. But it's just the idea that I have to be concerned about bringing somebody to my home without being abused. That's why I can't invite family, right? And kids and stuff. So anyways, they come, and I have cameras facing all the way down my driveway. So it shows all the way down the road as well. And my entire property is an acre, and I have cameras all over my property. CCTV, Wi-Fi cameras, deer cameras, the whole 9 yards, right? So it protects me because I can catch somebody if they're doing something criminal on my property. I can catch them while they're on my property if they're trying to get into my property, and it protects me because nobody's going to say that I'm doing something I'm not doing, right? Because that's exactly what happened. So the next day, I follow up to try. I have the flash drive ready. The guy that mowed down my fence, right? He trespassed all over my rental property that's down the road and around the block, and he just mowed down my fence. This is after he tried to pull the fence out. This is after he got in, was messing with my electrical stuff, and this whole thing. And so I call the sheriff's department because they are the ones that issue the rental bans. Like the travel people, they don't like to do that. So anyways, he had issued a rental ban back in like into June against this person to completely stay off my property. So if pray tell I was able to get it rented out, they wouldn't, if he did anything, trespassed on that land, it would automatically, wouldn't be a warning. It would be, he violated this ban. So they have some special statute in Oklahoma that helps landlords and protects them from squatters too, which is, anyways. So he mows down my fence. So I call the sheriff's department, and I get this really nasty deputy, the very one who gave this guy, allowed him to shoot across the road, which is a felony, to try to keep people from coming to my property. While I'm walking down the road, I've got it on video, the guy shooting while I'm walking down the road, across the road that I'm using to walk on, right? And this guy said I harassed him because I called the law and about him, doing that. I'm like, are you kidding me? I have a stalking order against the guy. But just one of those. And I'm like, okay. So he tells me that, yeah, he called up here trying to press charges against you. I'm like, for what? For trespassing all over his property and driving up and down the road with ATV stuff. So I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, so here's the deal. When I complain against somebody, you go get that person's side and you allow them to provide evidence to prove their innocence, right? That would be submitted if there's any criminal charges to the DA. So why wouldn't you give me that respect? Okay, that's called discrimination. And they do this to a lot of people. So And he told me that the guy's been calling in all kinds of lies. And I'm like, that makes me angry because my security footage, my DVR, I only have a certain amount of footage. So it only lasts for a certain amount of time. And I'm like, okay, I want to press charges, and show that this guy is violating the protective order by falsely accusing myself and my people of crimes. He literally accused them of going into his property. And I'm like, okay, so I put everything on the flash drive. I went from the whole night all the way until, it was light out to show one, nobody came up that road. And it showed very clearly that they came up into my property and then they went back down the property. Nobody went into his property and nobody else came up and down that road. So I'm just like, so this is falsely reporting a crime against me, and that is a form of harassment. So this officer comes out, and of course, this tribal officer, this dispatcher is non-tribal, and I guess she hates tribal people because she sure ain't trying to help them when they're being abused. So she dispatches an officer to the guy's house about our ATVs because he called sheriff's department. They're like, look, dude, this is a lake community. It's completely legal to drive golf carts and ATVs. It is a lake community. It is a tourist area, and it is completely legal, and it's an unincorporated town. So there's no city regulations, right? And so it's accepted all around this lake that this is unless you can't go on the shorelines. They do have rules on the Corps of Engineer shorelines about that. But I'm just like, who would attack an entire lake community for anyways? So but the guy, I wouldn't even know that so after this officer comes out, I'm told that there's no officer. It's Labor Day weekend. We don't have anybody here. On and on it goes. So I'm like, okay, but you had half an hour to go and take reports with this guy. And it didn't have anything to do with you. Your name wasn't mentioned. It was just about people driving on this. I'm like, first of all, nobody came up and down this road but me and my people. And I said, second of all, it's on camera. And third of all, yes, it was about me because the deputy told me that the guy had called trying to file reports for charges against me. So don't give me, he don't know what he's talking about. So then this officer goes in his car and he calls his deputy, right? He calls his deputy and see, of course I'm recording. This is why I have to record. So I'm recording exactly what I said to this officer because I knew he's going to get in his car and he's going to call his deputy and he's going to lie, misquote me, because they do that all the time, and say that I said something he said that I didn't say, which is exactly what he did. So he comes out of his car and he blah, 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 at me. And I'm like, first of all, I'm going to courthouse on Tuesday. Second, you just called me a liar. I said, every call, every conversation I have is recorded like it is right now. I said, so, where's recording? I said, yeah. I said, I'm going to get that recording and I'm going to submit it to your superior. So I get in my car and I'm just like, hey, I'm a Christian, Lily. I'm not going to sit here and argue with this man. So I get in my car and I drive all the way to the sheriff's department, which is half an hour away, because I want to get his body cam. I'm going to get everything, every conversation we had. I want his recording, right? So I get in there and I'm like, okay, look, I want you to hear what this officer just said, because he's saying that you did not tell me da 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 da. And he was like, well, the way he said it is not the way I said it. I'm like, well, listen to what I exactly told him, because he just lied to you and misquoted me. Like, they're not going to get caught up in this playing this, but this is what they do, this crafty playing this, because this officer was mad because this deputy spilled the beans and let me know that they had been taking reports against me and not giving me my constitutional right to equal right to provide evidence and give my side of the story. And that's discrimination. If you're gonna take, somebody files a complaint and they say, well, this person did this, and you go talk to that person and they have security footage, you should give them the right to look at the security footage. So he knows that I'm going to use that in court. So he was so mad to find out that I found out about that phone call, that because, and here's another thing. Why is tribal officers, according to him, it had nothing to do with me or any person in specific. So tribal officers are not allowed to be dispatched to people's homes unless tribal people are involved, period, right? So now it involves the Bureau of Indian Affairs and the Internal Affairs Office, because they're the ones that investigate these tribal officers, because they're misappropriating funds. Do you have a Labor Day weekend where they're short of officers, and by the recorded conversation, they're talking about how short they are of staff and all this and that, and you have people waiting in line to get an officer to come out and help them, and they dispatch them to a non-tribal person's office to go out of their way to try to scheme against me and then lie about it and say it had nothing to do with me. Like they had, so he just basically got himself in trouble for telling me, unrecorded video, mind you, that he is at a non-tribal person's house over nothing to do with tribal on a busy Labor Day weekend. I'm like, you are so busted. Just like the games that they play, right? But I just felt bad because these people, all they wanted to do was come help me. Like that's the kind of people, they're just nice. They're neighbors and they're also Indian, and so they come help me. And it's like, well, that's how neighbors are. I actually have nice neighbors that live around me. It's one person that's crazy that lives on the block, right? And so it's like, I just feel bad because they came up here and they got drawn into this drama and lied on. And so, but that person also, when I went to look at the footage for this deputy, for when he mowed down my fence, I saw that same person, after trespassing all at the backside of my rental property, had walked all the way up to that person's house and just stood in the middle of the street and just stood there staring at her house. Like she's got kids, right? And then after that, it was her birthday. So I go to her house and I bring her, a bag of goodies, her birthday gifts and stuff. I'm out there talking to her and her son. And then here he comes, my stalker. And I can't believe the stuff he's doing in front of other people. That's just how out of his mind he's gotten to be. Like, I guess he thinks everybody in the whole community is his friend. Like, nobody's going to tell on him. Nobody's going to write a statement. Nobody's going to be calling as a witness to testify. Yeah, we saw this guy do this, right? Like or either that or he thinks he scares everybody. Like, nobody's going to stand up to the guy, right? Anyways, he is so mistaken. So he's parked after he follows me to my, passes me by. He wasn't going anywhere. He only followed me when I went to my friend's house. And so he goes up the road and he turns around, and 2 blocks up the road, he's just sitting there in the middle of the road in broad daylight, just sitting there, parked in the middle of the road, watching me, waiting for me to leave. So then I leave, and here he comes. I mean, he's just bold, right? And then he was going to try to block me in my driveway again. I hurried up, turned around so he couldn't do that, right? I'm just like, it's just, and so here I am in faith, and I'm just like, just trying to keep the faith that this is like, what is it that, how do they call it? Like the dark before the dawn, like it gets darkest before the dawn or something like that. So I'm outnumbered. These people have power, that I don't have. There are many of them. They're vicious, they're malicious, they're crafty, and they're to the point where, I think he is dangerous, and it's just, I don't know really and truly how bad it's going to get and what it's going to happen. I've had some pretty crazy nightmares here lately that I don't know how bad it's going to get. Like when he does finally, they're going to deal with him, right? And they get dealt with because they didn't deal with him. It's bad. It's like, I don't have anywhere to go. This is where I live. And I'm dealing with corruption at like county level, at freaking, to the point where FBI, I think that they should have did something with him a long time ago. And then the other FBI office is kind of like come and go on whether or not there's an actual case. I can't really get, they're supposed to be calling me, but I do know that sometimes the FBI, they're like, if they don't trust me, like to keep my mouth shut or something, like, no, she's too much of a blabbermouth. We don't trust her to like discuss things with her about the case. We're just going to plant people and just build our own case and not really, you know what I mean? They could be doing that. But I don't trust them. I don't know, because they just go back and forth. And anyways, but they, there's definitely some things wrong, because when somebody you have a DA who I've recorded saying that the county commissioner can appropriate county funds on private land. They know that they're committing perjury in federal court. Like they have full expectation to do that. to the point where they think that, yeah, well, the federal judges, they're corrupt too. Like, this is how they act, the things that they do. Why would you go into federal court knowing there's all kinds of evidence to prove you're committing perjury and commit perjury, but for you fully expect that nobody can hold you accountable? And that's the good old boy system, and that's Oklahoma, and it's bad. And it just reminds me of that Oak scandal, where how on earth did an entire state, 70 counties of county commissioners, get to the point where they were so corrupt? Do you know how bad it was? They were literally going after poor people that are down on their luck, and they would recruit them. We're talking county commissioners would recruit them to create these fake invoices of supplies, and then they would get a check from the county, and they would give them half the check, and the county commissioners would pocket the rest, and then there would be no work done. That's how bad Oak Scam was, and 70 counties were guilty of it. The entire state. It was so, just like this demonic stronghold of corruption had just infiltrated the entire state. It was so thick that, like, how do you even begin as an investigating agency to go after a body of, these freaking good old boys that are just these, we got each other's back and we'll die for each other before we tell on each other kind of groups of people? How do you penetrate that? And so this story by Bill Price was just amazing, that he was able to penetrate that wall to get just, and then, then finally the resistance to get the investigation going was the biggest battle, right? So they finally got the FBI on that. And then, just they had to figure out and weed people out on who they could, who's going to snitch that they're on to them. You know what I mean? And that's probably the hardest thing too in these investigations, is because they have the ability to hide records, destroy evidence. And so how do you really just break down the barrier of this thicket of racism or corruption or just discriminations or whatever the isms are that's going on? And I'll tell you one thing that's really necessary is to start with prayer. And this man he just happened to be a man of faith that was like, this is my career. This is what I do. This is my job, and I'm not backing down. And so he cleaned house, and it was just, and I don't know like how many people are working for the county that are just corrupt. I do think we have some good judges there now. We had several years back, we had a prosecutor that was fired and charged, not convicted, a judge that was fired, charged, and convicted, a drug court clerk that was fired, charged, and convicted, like, and that was from just, it took the OSBI 2 years just to get those 3 people. There's no telling how many other stuff. So there's a lot of this stuff going on with all these roads in these rural areas, that there's still a lot of residual corruption that was started decades ago, like these fake roads. They've got forests that they're collecting as roads that they maintain. It's ridiculous. And I'm like, I know the county needs money. I know they do. But it's like, you can't collect money on fraud. And especially when you're trying to hurry up and take somebody else's drive because to cover your butt. Like, I think that's a part of what happened. I think there's a lot of discrimination involved as well. But it really was, a certain person is like, look, this is what you got to do because anyways. And so I'm just in the thicket. I'm in the thicket and the briar patch. I'm fighting off wasps, and thank God only one of them got me out of like 200 or more of them, and it didn't kill me. But guys, those wasps are dangerous, man. Don't mess around with those. Whatever you do, them birdhouses, I just didn't even conceive of the idea that a wasp would go into the birdhouse. Like, it was probably dumb that I didn't consider that, because I thought they like things that they can like get into that has a lot of space, but that little birdhouse, it didn't have an exit to it. And so, yeah, never put birdhouses near your house, like in wasp season at least, not if it's something that you walk around. And so I felt so bad because that birdhouse was right there on that tree, right there where that fence is right up on that tree. And my dogs could have been stung at any time. And I just thank the Lord that it was me and not them. Because my babies, one of them's got a heart condition, takes heart pills. And the other two are like, they're going on 13. They're very old for standard poodles, which the average age is 10 for them. So I'm just, I would have felt so bad if my dogs got stung because I just was clueless, that, yeah, you got a bird house up there on your tree. Did you know wasps will get in that? You got wasp infestations. You think about that? Anyways, so hoo-hoo. So I'm wanting to just now I'm just going to have to just be in a race to try to get caught up on all the stuff I was supposed to do this week. Now, plus my physical therapy is starting. So I want to get to the point where I'm going to be able to do crafts. Like I have stuff that I want to make. Like the thumbnail for this video, I'm wearing like this netted type of poncho. I bought that. I didn't make it. I wish I could say I bought it. I wish I could say I made it because it's really pretty. But I have seen so much talent on YouTube from these smaller channels. I'm not saying the bigger channels aren't super talented. I'm just saying I really appreciate the channels that I can connect with. So thank you, Country Christian. Oh, I'm so sorry you're here and you're talking. I'm just like, where are you from? Oh, I am so sorry. I didn't even see, I don't have my glasses on. Before you leave, hit that like button. Oh, you need to talk to the Hillbilly Heart. She's Dex Pro. Okay. Yeah. Right. The guy that was on my community page? I have to think. I put some. I think I might have put a picture of the guy, of the guy stalking on my page. Yeah. Yeah. It's just this old guy, and I'm not really. I'm honestly not sure what his issue is. And see, that's the difference between stalking from somebody that you dated or somebody that liked you, and then stalking from somebody's, you're related to. Because when you don't really truly know what their issues are, you don't know where their limits are in madness. Because it's bizarre. It's so bizarre for somebody to go creeping through the woods all times of night. And at any given time, he could be killed because there's people that creep these woods, right? In where we live, there's prowlers. And then there's these things going in people's private property. And around here, you're going to get yourself shot. I'm just saying that's the mentality of the area that I live in. And so, and then, I'm the type of person. I'm not even going to repeat the comments that people have said to me about how they would deal with this guy. It's just like, okay, as a believer, okay, I think you should always avoid violence. So that means that I don't want this guy coming on my property, not so much because he's trespassing, but because I might have to kill him if he approaches me with a gun on my land, putting me in self-defense. I don't want that. I don't. I think he wants a fight. He wants a battle, to the death. I don't know what he wants. That's the issue. He's dangerous. For example, one night, I sat out by my boat until dawn. I literally sat out there. I took breaks, whatever, to go, but I had to because he was acting so crazy. He was banging all night long and he was just having fits and he wanted on my land. And so he was out there creeping around. And so I didn't have my cameras at that time. I was waiting. I had them ordered. So I sat out there until dawn because he tried to creep up on my land. And I saw him coming into my land. So I took my big flashlight and I flashed the woods so he would see I'm out here to make him back off. And he did. And so then he goes over there after I do that. And he got really mad. He starts shooting at 2 a.m. That's you see what I'm saying? So, he's just going up and down the road and all over people's land. And it just doesn't make sense. I don't know what his issue is. I don't know if he's just this mean, creepy bully, that this is just something he's always done, or does he have some kind of mental issue? A lot of people suggested that he does, and they've seen him throwing fits in the middle of the road. It's and so here's the thing: if he goes up the street and he starts messing with them and he's creeping their land, he's probably gonna get killed. No, really. Like, but me, I don't want to fight with them. I'd rather put cameras up so that I know or not, right? Anyways, and I don't know. I honestly don't know if I should feel sorry for him or not. I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but I've been telling them till I'm blue in the face. I know that part of his issue is he's just evil. Like, when he's not evil, it's the person that thinks he's doing it is evil. He has agendas. He really has agendas. He is a land grabber. He does hate tribal people. And I think it's possible he confuses me with the lady that sold me the house, because she told me that he was mean to her and and she had problems with him at the get-go. I didn't really know to what extent, I didn't really ask, she just mentioned it. And so I didn't really see that for a while. And then, he was like, he never really bothered me, like, to my face. Like, he would act nice to my face, but then, after, I think it was like 2018, I started seeing some weird stuff going on, like glass being, all over my circle drive and stuff. And I thought that was weird. I thought maybe as a kid, didn't really give it much thought. And I found a bullet that's on the window. That one kind of got my attention. And I had a thought like, but I just had no idea. This guy harbored such hatred, and he's the one that's been stalking my land. I did not know that until last year when he went crazy on me. I didn't even know. And apparently I didn't even know until it was brought to my attention, that there's other people that he's been at war with, I guess. And I'm like, I don't even know. I just stay in my house. I don't I visit people time to time, up the road, friends with, most of my neighbors. I know them, but it's not like I go hang out with them all the time. We're friends, and that's a good way to be with your neighbors, and they'll be there for me if I need anything, and I'll be there for them if they need anything. And so anywho's, but I just think that this situation that's going on, the crafty things that they're trying to do against me, they're trying to just, when they found out that the FBI agent told me that they had talked to the prosecutor's office, and the prosecutor's office is not going to lie for them. So I don't think that the tribal prosecutor's office is in cahoots with these tribal officers that are very much against the rights of the tribes and trying to destroy all the tribes' rights to, issue protective orders. And I did get some of those things. As sick as I was, I still, oh my gosh. So I've been trying to contact all these tribal advocacy groups and making people aware, tribes and organizations in different states, because this could potentially trickle to different areas if they succeed in what they're trying to do. So there's a lot of high level politics in this situation. And let me tell you, it was so aggressive after the McGirt decision came down in Oklahoma. The governor of Oklahoma was going online in these stupid videos talking about acting like Indians are going to murder people, or they're going to get by with all these crazy crimes, and it's so horrible. And like, no, it wasn't even the situation at all. Like, they didn't like do away with convictions, or they weren't like immediately reconvicted. It was just stupid. It was just power control, and so they're super, super serious about this legislation and tribes being allowed to issue protective orders against non-tribal people. Oh my gosh, they are out of their minds over it. And the tribes are like, the other tribes, like if somebody from north comes down here to where I live in the southern part of the state, and they have protective orders, this is a tourist area, so a lot of people from this state that live in other parts of the state and other states, they come here. This is the biggest lake in the Midwest, like literally. And so they come here all the time. And if they have a protective order, they just don't expect it to get enforced when they come down here. Like, I need to make these tribal women aware of this, and to make so I've been trying to, make the tribes put it on their websites and let them know, hey, there's an attack on the tribe's rights because of this case. The tribes aren't personally involved in these lawsuits, but they are going to be affected. And so, anyways, it's just crazy, and I think I'm gonna lay down. My gut's starting to hurt again. Um, I am so sorry, Country Kristen. I didn't see your comments. I would have. I promised you I would have commented. I'm gonna go to your channel, show you love. I feel bad coming here and commenting on my live stream, and then I didn't even see your comments. I am so sorry, guys. Please forgive me if I do that when I'm live streaming and I don't see your comments. I am so sorry. But yeah, so that's it for now. I think I've rattled on quite enough. But I'm gonna drop some clue words here for the giveaway for this weekend if you're interested, and then I'll go do a little video. The clue word is Ford. It's Ford. Let me tell you, I was at the Ford dealership, and I told her, I said, my car is old. I said, but I get like between 35 and 39 miles per gallon on the highway. And to me, that's pretty good. And I said, it is 12 years old. The car is 12 years old. And I said, I have an antique car that's 1998. And it's got 360,000 miles on it. And it's solid. Like, I pull my boat with that vehicle, right? And she's like, wow, that's a lot. I said, I know. I said, but I've taken care of it through the years. And it's a solid car. And it's old with a lot of mileage. And so I'm just like, but I have to retire. I retired it to where I only put a certain amount of miles on it, to keep it going, But there's very few vehicles that anybody's ever obtained like 1 million miles on it. Like, first of all, you'd have to drive that car for like many, many years to even get that kind of mileage on it. And I don't think that I would ever, because I'd have to keep it driving it just a few thousand miles per year. So I don't think I'll ever get, I'll probably have it forever. Like, but there was a couple people that were like, we're high mileage people. We have vehicles with high mileage, right? And so we were going to start this Cub like half a million mile, because they had the 1 million mile, but like really and truly, I don't think we're going to live long enough to have that many miles. Like, we don't really go anywhere, right? So, but I thought, well, realistically, I could probably, if I kept driving, I could probably get it to 500,000 miles and start half a million mile club. Things. Anyways, so I like the idea of longevity. I like the idea that cars that last a long time, and of course, I like antique cars, and when they did the cash for clunker and they were like, let's get rid of all the old cars. And I'm just like, oh, there were 2 decades of antiques, man. I was so hurt. They just crushed a bunch of cars because they were old and they were in our feature antiques. What the heck? So hopefully a certain percentage did not go along with that. I did not. So I still have my car from the 90s. Thank you very much. And anywho's, so yeah, there's that place they was like, yeah, you should enter it in the car show, because even if your car's not like in immaculate condition, it can have some issues. But if you have a car, and it's like the only car for that model or brand or whatever from that era, it's like, you can win. I just just to have an antique car still running is pretty cool. So yeah, I never did get this new game going. I was wanting to play that new game that some kind of racing game, Most Wanted, Need for Speed, or something like that, and I couldn't get it running. I was so disappointed. Anyways, I had my car getting worked on. I went to this thrift shop and got some couple games at the thrift shop. But so as far as the game, guys, Chris in the mic, I think he comes back next weekend. So I want to have an event at the Roblox where we'll do the Donate Me game that he created for us when he comes back. And so he's still on vacation. And I don't feel comfortable, being in there and having problems with not knowing how to, anyways, I'll get better at it than I know how to run the game and memorize all the codes and stuff. And so I'm going to be doing giveaways. I'm going to make some craft stuff. Like I thought, just kind of let me know, I thought some cute little craft giveaway things. Like I saw these really cute little bracelets with like little button on them. I thought those were cute that I'm going to make. And just some kitchen items. Like kitchen items are really popular for like, you know, little Christmas gifts, you know. So I want to do a bunch of kitchen items. So if you're a crocheter and you have, you know, certain items, tutorials, let me know, because I would love to put you on my playlist. And anytime that I make an item that I learned from somebody else here on YouTube, I'm going to shout you out and appreciate you very much. So for my subscribers that have expressed interest in the crochet gifts, you know, that you were interested in, let me know your favorite colors, you know, so when I go looking for some yarn deals, like, I don't know, I saw this video where this guy he crocheted, and he was super talented. And he would go into these really nice consignment shops and get the nicest sweaters that you could find, like cashmere. I mean, just the kind of yarn that is like super, super expensive, right? And he just unraveled them. I'm like, oh my gosh, I so need to do that, right? Because I love that really fancy type of yarn. You know, if I'm going to be making these really fancy ponchos, you know, and I think it should be like some cool stuff. And I don't have that much money to buy expensive yarn. I'll be straight up with you. So I may do recycled yarn, and I hope that's okay. You know, but I will let people know, you know, and if it's recycled yarn or if it's brand new yarn. But I don't, where I live, we don't have Walmart. We have a Dollar General store. And the nearest town that's 10 miles away has a Family Dollar. There's no yarn stores anywhere within half a mile, like half an hour. And so even those little sections are very limited on yarn. So we don't have a Michael's or a Hobby Lobby. And so if I go to, you know, like to a medical appointment, you know, in the city or something, I just don't, you know, and I hate to order stuff online. So I'll be looking for thrift shops. I'll be looking for deals or yard sales or whatever, you know, I'll just be looking for maybe somebody selling a big bundle of stuff, you know, somewhere on Facebook or somewhere, which I don't really even give it on Facebook like at all. I just I'm sorry, I don't try to be mean, but I hate like Facebook. And we're getting ready, it's just getting that campaign time, the politics. It's just so in your face. I can't even stand to go on there. I just go on there, let people know I'm alive. Hey, you know, every once in a while, and I just don't. I just can't do Facebook. Like, it's everywhere, you know. And so I'm just checking out the comments here. Talk to Hillary Hearts. She's an ex-pro. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying now. Okay, I absolutely will do that. But before you leave, hit that like button. Okay. Yeah. So thank you guys for stopping in. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I didn't see your comments. But I may come on like later tonight and play some video games and drop some clue words. I'll drop one more clue word. Weekend. It's weekend. Yay. So I'll just see how I feel, because right now I'm gonna lay down and feed my dogs and lay down. And then they're all passed out, my babies. I need to go take them for a walk. I'll talk to you later.